Okay, I'm gonna bitchy ass throat. Okay, I'm gonna try this thing again. You know, my fucking phone decided to fuck up right when I was getting into the heart of the video. But let's try to start this over. So I'm sitting outside today, making a video because I'm expecting a art book to arrive from a particular artist that I've been into his work since probably about 2017, and it's really good. I don't know if you can call it a manga or a comic book or whatever. I think it's a web comic. Yeah, I think that's the more appropriate term for it. But he's one of those illustrators who like tells stories without words through his comic and stuff. So yeah, I may post a bit of his art on my community feed because it's really interesting. But oh, another thing before I get into this video is Mr. Robot. He made a community feed listing some of the anti-natalist channels that he said was really helping him, I guess, get through some his hard times, and mine was among one of them. And I'm really thankful for that. I really appreciate that because it's nice to know that what I'm saying is helping someone. It's a lot of times that I think if doing these videos is really uh, worth it, because I think how many people is really gonna want to get on here and hear some guy just cuss up a storm and rant. But I guess I'm saying something of substance, so I'm gonna keep going, and I really appreciate the support, and hopefully I can keep this up in the future. But I want to talk about this channel that I ran across myself 2 days ago, and it's Machine God Eats, because I watched one of his videos about where he talks about his childhood, and he talks about having PTSD from his when he was being evicted as a child, and just describing all of the stuff that he had lived through with his mom. And it was really something to hear because his mom was not a good mom, at least in my opinion. And he gets into a lot of that, where he talks about how when he was a kid, it's like his mom was always bringing these men around the house, around the family, and like these men, they was always on some fuck shit. They was either stealing their stuff and pawning it off for money so they to buy crack, or like how he talks about witnessing his mother being beat by one of these men growing up, and he says like that, that really affected him, and that you know now he deals with issues from just seeing stuff like that as a kid. And it's like his mother would always just keep letting these men into the family and just wreaking havoc. And that's one of the things that he described, just how these men were always angry, wreaking havoc throughout the house, breaking stuff, slamming stuff, violence. And not only that, but another thing he talks about, like, again, is how they were always being evicted, either because they had to run from these fucking violent men, because, they were also affiliated, I guess, with gangs and all of that shit, and they would come around the house, and, it would be unsafe that way, so they had to run, or the mom and wasn't paying rent, and so they was always being evicted. And what he says is that, or at least this is how he's describing it, but it's like they were being evicted every fucking day. It's like they would go from one place to another. As soon as they found another place, it's like they was already being evicted. And he said that's all he witnessed as a childhood, being evicted, or these terrible men that this mom would just constantly bring around the family, and it would just wreak havoc on the family dynamic. And then it's like the places he described, this one house in particular, how he says that it was just this terrible dilapidated house where homeless people was always breaking into it. And it's like he describes some crazy stuff. And what he says now is that now, like, he deals with PTSD, like from always just being evicted and shit. And he says, like, for a while he was afraid to bring all his personal belongings to his apartment because he didn't know if he was gonna get fucking evicted or not. And just kind of post-traumatic stress disorder going on there. And another thing he described is just having a huge hatred for these type of worthless men that his mom was always affiliating with. And just the what the feelings he described, like he says that he's not, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's dealing with some stuff because of all of that he's been through as a kid. And it's like the way he describes it, it's like I get it. I get it 100%, because when you going through stuff like that, just bullshit like that, and it's the norm, that really fucks you up into your adulthood, you see. And I talk about before on here how I was going through shit with my family. Now, I don't know if I can say it was on the same level as this guy, but y'all seen some of the videos, but it's like some of the stuff I've shown on even some of my videos, like this isn't a recent thing. Like this stuff has been going on since childhood. And it's like I remember just being 12 years old and just having to listen to my mom just constantly yell as loud as she could throughout the house. And I'm not talking about just no usual complaining that moms do. I mean, she would fucking just scream so loud to where it would wake everyone up early in the morning and just wreaking havoc and causing hell. Like, I remember just watching her, how she would always fight with my older brothers. And I know one in particularly, I said this before about how I saw her just take a water key and hit one of them just on the stomach as hard as she could with this fucking blunt force object. And he wasn't even doing anything. And just, oh shit. Yeah, smell him. I got my key. Yeah, this is why I chose to sit out here, so she couldn't just come up out here hearing what I'm fucking saying and stuff. But anyway, yeah, just witnessing that type of shit, and just her just always breaking stuff, throwing stuff. And I remember police was always coming out to this fucking house. And we're talking about, this is 2005, around this point. Police was always coming to this damn house about something. And it's like, I witnessed that shit all the way up into my adulthood. And it's like now it fucks me up, and it has me feeling some type of way. And I deal with anger and a lot of resentment from that, because it's like, it shouldn't have been. And when traumatic events come become the norm like that, it really fucks you up when you're just in a situation as a kid where the you're just being put through hell for no reason. And it's like, I get how this guy's feeling when he talks about that, when he talks about how he doesn't trust people and how he doesn't just trust society because of just what he's been through, you know. And uh he says he still loves his mom, but I mean, if that was me who went through all of that, just because the mom, like, she wasn't 100% a victim either. Like, she was allowing these men to just come around uh, the house and just do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. And I think he said that he thinks that she was even kind of uh, getting high off of crack with these men, you know. So it's like she wasn't really a good parental figure, and he still loves her because I guess that's his mom. But it's like, if that was me, I would be like, fuck this bitch, because this is exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about this whole sex shit is evil, a while ago. Because it's like, how the fuck can you just bring kids here to have to deal with shit like that? You don't got your shit together. You fucking constantly bringing bad influence around the family, and then like you just allowing chaos to just ensue. And then who gets affected? The kids get affected because they don't have any fucking autonomy. You don't have or autonomy. You don't have any autonomy when you fucking 5 years old, 12 years old. So you just gotta sit there and deal with that shit. And it's not fair to the kids, you know. And it's like, I don't understand. I mean, now I'm not taking any jabs at him because just that's his, uh, I guess, convictions. He still loves his mom, but I'm just speaking from my personal point of view. You know, because I've had people say this to me in the past about my whole situation with my family when shit would kick off here and police would get called, and then I would just tell them like, yeah, my mom's on some fuck shit, and they like, now come on, now that's your mother, and it's like, okay, and like, so, I don't give a fuck, you know. And see, and that's what I'm saying. I don't understand this whole mentality that people be having where, even if your parents are the shittiest people around, like it's like you're still supposed to respect them. Like they're like, but come on now, that's still your mom or that's still your father. Like that's supposed to be some kind of thing where it invalidates what it is that you're saying because you're related to them, when in actuality it just makes things all the more worse and backs up more of what you're saying, because it's like, it's because of that reason, it's because of the reason that this is your mom or this is your dad, why all the bullshittery that you've been put through as a child into your adulthood should not have happened, because it is because they are your mom and your dad that they're supposed to be there for you, that they're supposed to love you, they're supposed to take care of you, teach you, and teach you how to be an independent, productive adult. But instead, when you get these ratchet ass parents who do the complete opposite, like what this man was talking about in his video, like just this mom not established and just constantly valuing these terrible pieces of shit men over her own child. And it's like, uh it's something that's just not excusable, you know. And that's why I say that like that, I think there needs to be some laws on this sex shit because it's like just anyone can have kids, anyone can bring kids into this world, and they can deal with shit like that. They can deal with a fucking mama who ain't handling her business, and yeah, I think he said that too. I may have already stated that, but the mom wasn't even fucking paying rent on these fucking houses that she was living in. So it's like, yeah, they were being evicted, just like that fucking every day. He said it, and it's like, how can you bring kids into this world to be put through something like that? And I think he said it was this one ratchet ass house that they were living in, this dilapidated house where homeless people was constantly breaking into it, and he had to live through that shit as a child. And it's like, how can you bring kids into the world to go through stuff like that? You know, it doesn't make any sense why you would do something like that. And then on top of that, these kids, they grow up to become adults. So it's like a lot, people do a lot. How some adults choose to deal with trauma, it may not be good. They may grow up to be psychos, and I think, as this guy said, like he's dealing with issues from that shit, you know. And I don't remember if he said anger in particularly, but I'm pretty sure that there is a lot of resentment in there. I think he said he despises these guys. Guys, yeah, I'm thinking about going to the eye doctor again. I don't know. I guess the one where we went the last time. Y- yes, ma'am. No, I'm good. I'm gonna. They said if this eye job didn't work, then to come back. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. Bye. So back on topic here. So anyway, he said because of just growing up around just these fuck men that he despises men like that, and just and it just what he says, like he has a special hatred for these men, like he just want to hurt these types of dudes when he see them. And it's like that's what happens, like when you expose your kid to negative influences like that, they can grow up to have a lot of anger and hatred to where they may not deal with it in a positive way. And let's say if they lash out at society, well, now the fucking laws are there to put them away for life for being what they call it, a menace to society, a danger to society. And then what I truly can't fucking understand is these people in the comment sections who be all like, oh, well, I've been through hard times as a kid myself. Oh, I went through this, and this as a kid, and I didn't grow up to kill people. I didn't grow up to steal, to do this and that. It's like, okay, good for you. You're able to tolerate the bullshit of this society better than someone else. Woohoo. You know? But it's like, people aren't you. People don't deal with fucking traumatic events the same way. So it's like that really is what I'm fucking tired of. It's these fucking people who want to boast about going through the most shit and still y'all know what I'm saying, right? Just these people who want to fucking have their nose up in the air, acting all morally superior because they didn't go off the deep end from all the bullshit they were being subjected through this life. And it's like, okay, yeah, good for you. Just because you can tolerate this bullshit doesn't mean that someone else should be expected to do the same or deal with it in the same way that you can. And and that's why I say, just really again, there really needs to be more consideration to this procreation thing because it's a lot of people coming into this world, a lot of kids to broken families like mine and like machine, the dude that I'm talking about. And then when you go through all that shit and you're still somehow expected to still function normally in this society, in this hell realm, and if like it's just fucking stupid, you know. And people really need to stop that shit. Like, oh well, I was I was you know, man, I fucking hate doing this because bitchy ass YouTube. But I was raped as a kid, and then I got beat by my adoptive father. Oh, and then I got a stick rammed up my ass, and then yeah, I'm being kind of intentionally exaggerative here, but I didn't turn out to be a mass murderer or a shooter. It's like, yeah, okay, that's you. But you shouldn't expect that to be someone else just because you can deal with this bullshit. Oh, they should be able to deal with it too. That's why this society is so fucked up because it presents nothing but problems from birth, from when you are a kid, like, and then you're expected to just still grow up and be a productive member of this society. Like, that is bullshit. You know, that is such stupidity that I just can't even fathom it. And so, man, that's what I wanted to get on here and talk about. And this is why I am just an anti-natalist because stuff like this, stuff like what this guy went through, it should not be happening. There shouldn't be kids coming in here to go through broken families like that, a broken household where the mom isn't, or the parents aren't taking care of their shit. They're allowing bad influences around that can affect the kids growing up into adults. I can't stand that shit. And then when the kids turn into adults who get fucked up and they do some shit, which I'm gonna talk about that next. I don't know when, but expect me to talk about it because I got a lot to say about that, about this particular case in general. But when they grow up to do some fucked up shit, then everyone just want to put them away. They just want to throw them under the bus or lock them up forever. They're not fit for this civilized society, as if this damn society was civilized to begin with. And it's like, that's bullshit. That's a fucking cop-out. Because you have this hell realm where you're allowing parents who aren't fit to have children to just freely bring children here, and then you placing all the responsibility on the person who was brought here as to how they dealt with it, something a particular way, or how they grew up to be or think as an adult, and then you blame them for how they acted now for what they went through as a kid. And it's like, I'm not saying I know we shouldn't have responsibility, stuff like that, but it's like, with these, I went through all of this and I grew up to be a productive member of society. There are some people who never get that fucking opportunity, who from birth their entire lives are just hell from start to finish. And it's like, no matter what they fucking do, they can't turn their fucking lives around. And so if they decide, fuck this, I'm gonna go and do some shit, or I'm gonna try to survive the best way I can regardless of the legality of it, it's like, now it's their fault. Now they're the ones to blame for this, when the fucking parents brought them here and were unfit to be parents. This really needs something really needs to be done about this, but I don't fucking know. You know, it's just real stupid. But that's my video for now. And y'all can tell me what y'all think, and I'll be back with to y'all with another one real soon.